So the vast majority of building big structures is done. Now comes the tedious part of making a bunch of tiny projects uh, with everything that's left to do. Basically, it kind of looks like an airplane at this point. And the saying goes, once it kind of looks like an airplane, you're about halfway done. And it sure feels that way. Yeah, so here we go on. We already built the fuel lines. I've got another video that's going to show that, or maybe I'll put it in with this one. But now I'm going to attach these little fuel line holders here. So cut those out and let's get them attached. What a pain in the butt. So you can attach the first set to the cover ribs there with rivets. I think they're like LP4-4s or something like that. Relatively simple. The problem is when it comes to the front side, right? I should have changed the hardware on them. That's definitely a learning experience that I've taken from this project. Is so long as whatever hardware you're using meets a spec, use hardware that's easy to use. I'll get more into that in a little bit here while I'm fitting these, but yeah. So this line here will be the right tank's fuel supply line, and so it goes into the bottom of the valve, or the selector rather, and then and into the tank flows into that, and then the top one is the return line, and that goes into the top of the fuel valve on the right side there. So these two tubes are here, and then you've got the other side of these. Oh, never mind. We're gonna put the lines on the right side as well. So we're gonna rivet these into the cover ribs, and then put the lines in on this side. And I believe I even torqued them onto the fuel selector at that point, which is good because then I can just sort of like screw and unscrew the fuel selector. Put a piece of like skin over top of it, or underneath it rather, but over top of that sort of tunnel area. Yeah, these are fun to those were fun to install in a sense, because you really have to do them in a very certain, like a very specific orientation. Since they're already bent and you got really not a lot of room to work in there. Plus torquing the AN6 or whatever they are ends into a very small space that you can kind of see. Here, perfect time. You can see it on the bottom, or I'm sorry, yeah, the right side of the shot here, below it. To get a wrench down in there is a major pain. All right, so here's what I was talking about earlier with the hardware. So they give you these, the two sides of the fuel line holders, right? And the hardware that they provide for this is like, I don't know. They're some sort of, they're probably like an AN526 screw, which is just like a dome head screw with a Phillips socket on it, and some locking, like some Nylox washers. And you can't really get a good angle on them because it's just stupid, right? I get you're going to want to separate these things out so that way you can take a fuel line out if you need to. Totally understand that. But why use Phillips head screws there, right? Why not use two 6-point socket type things? One, still a screw in a sense that it's threaded, but like, and I don't know the name of the ones that they are, but like, look what I'm doing here. I'm taking the my electric screwdriver and putting like attachments on it just to sort of like screw things together. It was such a stupid mess trying to get all this in place. And I could have just replaced the hardware and it would have been super easy. So, you know, if you're doing something like that and you're like, oh, wow, this is a pain to use a Phillips head screw, then just toss the screws and replace them with an appropriate piece of hardware that's got something easier to use on it. No harm, no foul. As long as it's just as strong, which in this case, it doesn't even need to be strong. It's holding a piece of nylon on there for the fuel lines to stay in place. It's just got to be snug. So what the hell, you know? Jeez, why did I take so much time to do all that? It was such a pain. I had to come up with some stupid inventive way to solve it. Anyway, enough complaining. This is doing the install of a fuel pump. So there it is. Fuel pump's in, fuel lines are in, and I believe everything's torqued down. So we'll see you back here next time for, I think, some electronics. Thanks for stopping by.